5P Podcast. On this episode of the 5 Paragraph Podcast, we're going to talk about hard copy. I'm your host, Michael J. Penny. What is hard copy? What do you mean by that? 5 Paragraph Business Plan was written as a workbook so that you can organize your thoughts in hard copy format. It's the same way that we did it when we were downrange. One of the reasons why we were so effective, I believe, when we were serving overseas in different areas and stuff, is because of our limit of technology. Limited kind of how we could get flustered in all of these other different kind of areas of thought. And it focused all of our attention towards a hard copy format in order to prioritize what needed to be done and then go and execute the mission. So on this episode of the 5P Podcast, I would like to highlight the fact that many people look to technology to solve their toughest problems. This includes organizing your vision and maintaining transparency and all of that other good stuff. We invite you to use 5 Paragraph Business Plan to organize these problems and crush them. All right, so I use the fragmentary, right, all the way down to the fragmentary. Why is that? Because I orchestrated a vision for 5 Paragraph on what needed to get done, and then brought it all the way down to that daily focus in order to prioritize those thoughts toward committing action. That's how I get things done. So here is my challenge to you. Work in hard copy for one day. This doesn't mean that everything that you're doing is all in hard copy. I mean, get outside of your office, stop emailing everybody, and instead get together for a little bit of a vision session. All right, focus your planning and organization efforts toward hard copy planning. Write out your plan with pen and paper. Illustrate it on a dry erase board. Hard copy puts things in stone. It's not just keystrokes on an email or another memo. It's physically printing out a piece of paper and going through the step by step. This prioritizes your thought process. Okay, so 5 Paragraphs' intention is to increase team productivity by limiting technology needed to get organized and commit action. This is true across any client that we've worked with, starting with our very first coming right out the gate. They wanted some sort of, okay, how are we going to do this so that we can communicate with one another? And I am not going to name one of our competitors that only exist in the technology realm, reliant totally on technology. But it's that lack of transparency, that lack of cohesive coordination in the digital realm where everybody gets lost, right? Instead of creating a hard copy to be able to go off of. This is akin to list building. All right, I'm a guy who builds lists. I have to prioritize my actions. A lot of folks who know me understand that I can go down many different rabbit holes. If I do not prioritize my actions, I will basically waste a day just chasing threads. And that's why I have to create lists in order to go and achieve an action. And then once those lists are completed, then we should have something that is set in stone. Right, so here's what I invite you to do. Assemble your team. Put the 5 paragraphs on the board. Ask your team's intelligence input into those 5 paragraphs, given whatever the situation may be. Right now, this is after your executive vision, what you have created as your of your world of input, so to speak. So, if you're paying attention to our previous episodes, we discussed delegation on previous episodes, where you're basically creating that field where everybody's got to be playing within. Okay, so assemble your team, put together their intelligence input. They've been gathering intel and all of their daily work, and it all comes together into those 5 paragraphs. So create a vision using the 5 paragraph business plan. That is to say, write out the problem that needs to be tackled. Here's the issue that we're dealing with right now. List all of the people that are in the room that are going to be working on it. Those are the friendlies that are associated with it, right? As well as the supporting elements that are working in order to help us out. Might be attachments, it might be other supporting agencies that are out there that can help us get through this plan. And write out the mission overall for what needs to be done. We are going to do this in order to accomplish that. Gather the input from each team member. Can you use intelligence in order to gather the input? Can you use technology to gather that intelligence? Absolutely. Technology is a great thing so long as you are using it and it is not using you. Put those actionable intelligence pieces onto the board. So you're solving this problem, and what you're doing is you're putting together all of that intel onto the board as to how you can solve that problem. Does it need to be in exact order? No, it doesn't. Because then you're prioritizing those actions, just like how you probably create lists. Say, for instance, a grocery list. You put down all of the things that you need for groceries. However, when you get into the store, you have to prioritize how you're going through the grocery store, right? We don't go and get something out of the frozen food section first and then go and get all of our canned goods, because then the ice cream's going to melt before we get done shopping. Okay, so you're gathering the intelligence on the problem, you're putting it all onto the dry erase board, and then you're prioritizing those actions. From there, in reorganizing things into priorities, you have the ability to task team leaders. Those team leaders create their own 5-paragraph for how they're going to handle it. I suggest using the 5-paragraph fragmentary. Same template, it's just limited in scope. So that way you can back brief it. Okay, so if I'm the leader and I'm coming together and I go, hey, we've got a problem, pull together all of the team members that are necessary, pull together the support plan that's necessary, we need to do this in order to accomplish that. Boom, then we start throwing things up on the board. We prioritize those actions that need to be done. Great, so now we have a list of prioritized action. I have the ability to task the individual team leaders, same ones that are up in the top paragraph, with those actions that need to be completed. They back brief me in 5P format and then go and commit action. It works both ways. It's the same thing that we did in the military, frankly. All right, so by doing this, what you do is you limit your planning to hard copy. It forces your team to condense the vision into doable actions. This is how we maintain transparency in moving forward. Those limited doable actions, you're prioritizing your targets. You're prioritizing what needs to be done. And you can do this on a daily basis. You can do this on a quarterly basis, whatever you feel comfortable with, depending upon how you organize with your team. All right? I'm not saying in this episode that technology is bad. You're probably listening on a cell phone, or you're watching in our Facebook group. If you're a member of our Facebook, our 5-paragraph community, you see these videos live as I'm recording the podcast to be archived later on. By limiting our plan to a hard copy, what we have the ability to do is prioritize those doable actions, just like creating a list before you go into the grocery store. But then when you're in the grocery store, you have to prioritize how you're actually going to move through it. Okay, so you're creating that grocery list of items that needs to be done. You're gathering the intel from everybody else, which basically in our household is like, what do we need? Do we need, coffee, creamer, meat, ice cream, other stuff like that? And then how are you going to prioritize actually once you get into the grocery store, right? So my son and I will go to the meat section, go pick out all the meat, whereas my wife and I are going, or my wife and my daughters go into the produce section to handle all of this, right? So we have all of this gathered intelligence, what needs to be on the grocery list, and then actually when we get to the grocery store, how are we going to get all of these different various things? It can be done in hard copy. I love working with teams to be able to create those priority actions. So get with us at 5paragraph.com. Check out the book, 5-Paragraph Business Plan. It's available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can check it out right there at 5paragraph.com. Click on book. Right? Get in touch with us. The assessment's free. Each one of you we work with on a case-by-case basis. Our goal is to pull you out of that technology realm, gather all of the intel, do all of that other stuff, right? But prioritize it and put it down into an actionable plan. I work with 5-paragraph on a daily basis. It allows me to prioritize what needs to be done. Those action-worthy ideas need to go and be handled. All right, but how are we going to prioritize that action? And this is especially difficult when you're delegating your authority, all right? And using the same template all throughout the ranks, it makes it easier for folks to come together into these action meetings. It allows you transparency inside of your organization, open and honest communication in between the different departments. When you go to list out your priority actions, somebody better peep up and say, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You can't go sell an insurance policy that we have not already done the underwriting on. You can't do that. So how are you going to prioritize those actions? What needs to be done that's out there? Throw it up on the board. Prioritize it accordingly. Task the leaders with what needs to be done. Underwriters, go and do that. So that our sales and marketing team can go and do this. Right? So it's priority of action. What needs to be done is putting it down on a hard copy. It just has to be done. A lot of folks, they like trying to coordinate through email and doing all of these other different things. Unless you have something tangible to work off of, it can be extraordinarily difficult. Call me a Luddite, right? Even though I don't violently oppose technology, I just feel that we would all be way better off coming together, using technology, not allowing technology to use us, by putting together all of that intelligence, slapping it up on the board, and then prioritizing it through into a list of action which needs to take place. Folks, it's all there in the 5-paragraph business plan. It is the only business plan created for daily operations. You create the vision, you lay it out for all of the various team leaders. The various team leaders create their vision for success, what needs to be handled in their individual entity, in their individual team, and then back brief leadership. We work with teams in handling big, huge problems to be able to go and commit action. So I invite you, get in touch with us, contact at 5paragraph.com. You can go to 5paragraph.com right now. You can schedule a call. You can schedule a free assessment with us. Get on a phone call, 919-827-0898. Contact us. We'll be happy to work through on a case-by-case basis how your business, how your organization will be better off in working in this format. All right. And it sounds really simple because it is. It's very intuitive. It is how the human brain intuitively works on a problem and assembles a team to be able to go and commit action to solve that problem. That's what we've got here. We plugged in all the proper business terminology where it belongs. You can follow along using 5-paragraph business plan. Get the tutorials in front of you, available at 5paragraph.com. It says book, it says tutorials. And then when you're ready for us to be able to come in and educate your team on 5-paragraph, click the assessment, see where we can help you out. All right, folks, I thank you so much for being a part of the Facebook group. Hey, as well as all of you out there who are listening to these different podcast episodes. We've got more case studies as we're working through these things with different various organizations. We are looking for you folks who are having difficulty managing skilled labor. You're trying to organize your vision for how you're going to be able to achieve success. You're working with multiple teams, with multiple team leaders. How do you organize all of this stuff to be able to go out and commit action? 5-paragraph is the answer. Get in touch with us. Contact at 5paragraph.com. Go to 5paragraph.com. Reach out. We've got the phone number 919-827-0898. We are a North Carolina-based company. I'm Michael J. Penny, your host of 5P Podcast and the founder of 5-Paragraph. Would love to speak with each and every one of you. It is my passion to talk with each and every customer that's out there. It honestly is. I want to work with you folks. If you're looking to commit action in your own individual organization, if you're a leader who is looking to go out and commit action, prioritize those targets, try this out. Try working in hard copy. When you're done, you'll create a fragmentary order. It's simple. I've got my Frago in front of me. It's all in 5-paragraph format. And it is how we organize all of our thoughts, all of that intelligence into a priority list to be able to go through and commit action together as a group. So again, not saying that technology is bad, but let's use technology to our benefit and not allow technology to run our lives. How are we going to be able to bring all of this into a scope to where we as a team, as an organization, can commit action. Get in touch with us, 5paragraph.com. If you want us to come in and train your organization, we're here. Reach out, contact at 5paragraph.com. I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you. Until next time on the 5P podcast, take care and be well.